Hey there, STEM enthusiasts! Welcome back to Kameron's Lab, Dive In, the go-to podcast for STEM students, crafted with passion by one of your own. I'm Kameron, your enthusiastic and ever-curious host. Buckle up for today's insightful episode. Ready to dive in? Hi everyone, welcome back to Kameron's Lab, Dive In. Since our last time together, so much has happened, and I finally have a moment to slow down and tell you all about it. As you know, I attended VivaTech last month with press accreditation for the podcast. It was such an opportunity for me, really exciting. It was my first time visiting Paris, taking the Eurostar, and I got to do it while exploring my favorite thing, new technology. From companies that are household names like Meta, Microsoft, AWS, and NVIDIA, to companies that are a bit newer to me, like Volocopter, and another one called Dawn, the Avatar Robot Cafe, version beta. Just to name a few. And then, which is why I had to kind of slow myself down, after I came back, my Viva for my undergraduate thesis, which for those who don't know is a presentation where you get to talk about the work that you've been doing for your thesis, was the next week. So finally I'm taking a moment to kind of slow down, take it all in, and tell you all about it. My mission at VivaTech was to bring you with me as much as possible by interviewing, interacting with as many booths as I could. And I did just that. Over the 3 days, I managed to secure about, 25 or so mini interviews, which I'll be posting across my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So if you're interested in stepping into the lab for those, you can find me on Instagram with Kamerons_lab, on my TikTok and YouTube for Kameron's Lab. See you there! You may have already seen the first one, actually. It was with Volocopter's newest product, Velocity, which is an urban taxi. So cool. But we'll talk about that later. If you're one of the companies or the startups that took the time to speak with me, thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to start publishing them. I mentioned that I wanted to bring you with me for the experience. But if you've been following on my Instagram and LinkedIn, you may have noticed that the post count was a bit lower than anticipated during the conference. And here's why. Data, Wi-Fi, or I should really say, the lack thereof. Yes, as a tech lover who always tries to be prepared, I did not expect the data on my phone not to work very well in Paris. Honestly, I based my expectations on when I visited Cannes, because the Wi-Fi there was great and my data worked like a dream. But that unfortunately was not the case when I went to Paris, so downloading the videos took forever. And I decided to just skip it altogether until I got back to London. The key word here is downloading. Yes, I had to download the videos from my mini SD card because I recently upgraded the Kameron's Lab tech bag. I bought the DJI's Osmo Pocket 3, the creator combo, and it came just in time for VivaTech. Now, as a solo content creator, I am the videographer, the scriptwriter, interviewer, producer, everything and anything in between. So, I wanted to find a camera that was reliable and also had something called active tracking and mechanical stabilization, while still being small and easy to set up for those impromptu interviews like I usually try to do. The Osmo Pocket was perfect for that. Now, I do actually have the gimbal from DJI, and that's seen me through conferences and interviews across London, Munich, and Cannes. However, the setup was a little bit fiddly for interviews, and it would take me a bit of time to get it ready. But with my new camera and microphones, I'm able to just turn on the camera and the mics connect wirelessly. It's very plug and play, very fancy. I'm super excited about it. And it was honestly really funny to be able to watch people interact with my camera because every time I set it up on my tripod, people would be like, what is that? Like, why is it so small? If you've seen, you've all probably seen this already, but going to these big events, you see people with huge cameras, huge setups, big lighting, and then there's me with my tiny little DJI pockets. People are like, what is that? So it was really funny to get to watch them try tracking themselves. So with the active tracking that I mentioned, you're able to double tap on it and it tracks your subjects. Every time you move, it follows you. So it's great for getting videos of just myself when I know I can walk away and still be in frame. Wonderful. This isn't sponsored, by the way, unless anyone happens to be listening from DJI, just saying. But I do have an affiliate link for it if you're interested in getting one for yourself. And I'm honestly just super excited because it's my newest camera and I've been loving using it so far. And any questions about it, I'd be happy to kind of gush, so do reach out to me for that one. And I'll later be doing a video about what's in my tech bag for conferences, so look out for that too. Enough of me gushing about my new tech setup. Let's talk about VivaTech. I would first, of course, like to say thank you to VivaTech for having me. It was such a cool experience, and being press-accredited media really had some cool perks. When entering the venue, which was the Paris Expo Porte de Versailles, there was a separate entrance for media, kind of like the skip-the-line tickets at amusement parks. And the venue was huge. I suppose it had to be able to host VivaTech's record-breaking event this year. The event saw over 165,000 visitors, attracted 13,500 startups, more than 25 business sectors, and over 2,000 investors. This was a huge turnout. It was overwhelming. There was a lot going on. Representation from 120 countries and 40 country pavilions, including Japan, which was the country of the year this year. And the global impact of VivaTech was just truly remarkable. It was an unforgettable experience that really highlighted the immense potential of the tech industry and left me excited for what's to come. As you know, there's been this conversation around AI replacing jobs. And I think events like this really show students what this wide range of jobs that companies are offering and what companies are emerging out of this thanks to AI. So it's a pretty cool conversation that I will be talking about later. VivaTech 2024 was packed with unforgettable experiences and cutting-edge innovations. One of the standout moments for me was the Bunshin Robot Cafe Dawn version beta by Ori Laboratory. This was so special. When I walked into the booth, I was immediately drawn to the cute, small Orihime robots in kimonos. So of course, I went over and started talking about how cute they were with the staff at the booth. That's when it happened. It spoke to me, but not just talking in the programmed way. It was like it could see me. So of course I had a chat with the lovely robot in an adorable kimono about, VivaTech, more about Japan. And I must admit that it did take me a moment to realize that the robot was actually being piloted by somebody. And I was having a conversation with them. And their name was Kocho-chan. So, to explain the concept, the Bunshin Robot Cafe had its first trial back in November 2018 in Tokyo, Japan, with their permanent store opening in November 2021, which is also when Kocho-chan started working there. The robots are piloted by people who face mobility challenges and are unable to move outside of their homes with ease. This can be due to physical disabilities or chronic illnesses. By controlling the Bunshin robots, remotely of course, they are able to work in the cafe. It gives them the ability to earn money and work in a way that would be otherwise inaccessible to them. A quote from the booklet is, "People want to be needed by others. As long as there are others who need and appreciate them, people feel truly alive." The Bunshin are a wonderful example of how social robotics is creating a new dawn for people, enabling people to not only work and feel needed, but also giving them a way to socialize and make friends. It truly changes the narrative for them, and I think that's wonderful. I had a chat with Kocho-chan, the pilot that I mentioned, so that video will be launching next week. Please be sure to support this amazing cause by learning more about it and sharing what you've learned. Maybe one day I'll be able to take a trip to Japan by myself to see the cafe. That would be so cool. Speaking of robots, I got to hang out with the robots at United Robotics Group once again. If you do follow my Instagram or the TikTok, you might remember seeing me make a video about Plato, which is this really cute cobiot that helps support workers in the hospitality industry. I was so excited to see it again, but was instead greeted by the latest edition, U-Link. Slightly similar to Plato in terms of design, but there's a new interesting feature, which is the ability to change the back of the robot from a pegboard to different shelves, and it can even work with their palletizer robot, which moves boxes from place to place. It was really cool for me to be able to see the company again after learning about them for the first time back in WAICF in Cannes. So knowing how much I love robots, I can openly admit that I got distracted and drawn to basically every robot that I saw. Yes, I would just be walking around the conference, see a robot, and of course have to take a quick detour to see it up close and learn more. But it was cool. because the people working with the robots matched my enthusiasm and excitement. I remember back in high school when we started learning about robotics, and even before I started competing in the first global robotics competition, there were a few of us that were really interested enough to really geek out over them and constantly tell each other about new companies that we would find, like Boston Dynamics, for example. And I'm bringing this up because one of the amazing companies there uses Boston Dynamics Spot Robot, which if you haven't seen it, it's kind of like a robot dog. Very cute, very cool. But they use it to help with air pollution in South Korea. It was my first time seeing the robot in person, which was surreal, because it's one of the first robots that I remember learning about. Just another one of the cool things about VivaTech, I guess. You get to meet the companies, robots, and products that you've only really dreamed about in the classroom in person. And that's pretty awesome. Speaking of cool things, remember how I said I put my press accreditation to work for us? Well, not only was I able to get a solo tour of Tesla's Cybertruck, I was also giving a solo tour of Volocopter's new Velocity. So I mentioned it at the beginning, now I'm bringing it up and telling you more. The Velocity is an electric vertical takeoff and landing. It's called eVTOL aircraft. It represents the future of urban air mobility. It was fascinating to see how this technology could revolutionize city transportation, offering a sustainable and efficient alternative to traditional vehicles. Now, I won't go too deep into this because you can actually watch the full tour on my YouTube channel now. So be sure to head over there, learn a little bit more about it. Now I want to talk about the Tesla Cybertruck, which I was only able to bring you with me for a tour because of my press accreditation. I must admit, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but also exciting when they opened the security barriers to let me into the truck. People were taking pictures everywhere, shouting out their questions to the staff. It was overwhelming. But as soon as I got into the truck and the door closed, there was this immediate muffling of the outside noise. Like when you put on your noise-canceling headphones and it kind of just gets this silence a little bit. That was the moment when I really thought to myself, wow, okay, I'm in the Cybertruck right now. The truck is huge, much bigger than I imagined it from the pictures. And the towing capacity as well is impressive. It's about 11,000 pounds. Or, for those of us that are still based in Europe, it's just under 5,000 kilograms. The dashboard is equipped with this large, high-resolution screen that not only displays essential driving information, but also offers a range of apps that enhance the driver's experience. You can control everything, from navigation to media playback, and even access vehicle settings with this intuitive interface. There's also a Tesla mobile app that allows you to remotely control various functions of the Cybertruck, such as locking or unlocking the vehicle, checking the charging status, and even preconditioning the cabin temperature before you get in. This is pretty exciting. I personally, one of the things I got to do as well was take a photo on the back. So I was asking the staff, like, where do people take the best photos? And she was like, you can sit on the trunk. I was like, I can sit on the trunk. So of course, I had to get that photo. If you head to my Instagram, you can see that one. That was pretty cool. So I think seeing it in person was very exciting. But I must admit that I did have like these mixed reviews in my head as well. So people talking about, for example, if it's too cold, the temperature could impact the towing capacity. I've seen some experiments of people trying the trunk, like when you close it with different vegetables to see if it would simulate, for example, like putting your fingers, getting your finger stuck. So I think that the Cybertruck has some really innovative design and many capabilities for such a large electric-powered truck. But I think that there's still some hurdles that it needed to overcome, and hopefully we'll see that in the future. Through the podcast, I tried to introduce students to the amazing world of STEM through not only industry professionals, who I like to call the Jedi Masters of STEM, but also the amazing companies that they work for, that they're starting up themselves as well. And while Tesla is definitely one of them, as an engineering student, so is Airbus. And I had the opportunity to interview them to learn more about Optimate. Now, I will be releasing that interview later, but I'm too excited about this, and I need to share it with you now. Imagine having an extra pair of eyes and ears for pilots. That's what Optimate is all about. It's a super smart system, partially powered by AI, designed to make flying safer and more efficient. Optimate helps pilots by managing the entire flight, from takeoff to landing, using advanced technology. It includes features like a virtual assistant that pilots can control with a tablet and special protections that can be overridden if needed. One of the most impressive parts is how it helps with taxiing, which is the process of moving the plane on the ground. Optimate uses sensors to automate this, which helps reduce traffic at airports, making everything run more smoothly. This is important because it helps pilots focus on flying safely, especially as air travel gets busier and we face a shortage of pilots. By making it easier for pilots to work with air traffic control, Optimate is a big step forward in making air travel safer and more efficient. To sum it up, Optimate is bringing all the automation technology in the airplane cockpit to a truck. This allows pilots to test out the technology on the ground first without having to risk trying it in the skies. That is so cool. Just to wrap my head around that, basically all the technology in the airplane is in the form of a truck. Outstanding. Now, outside of this, I think my favorite booth, if you can even call it that because it was so big, was L'Oreal. They showcased their new Beauty Genius, which harnesses the power of AI to give you beauty tips and product suggestions. Kind of like the tech version of your older sister, who felt the embarrassing part of having to ask. But, if I'm being honest, while this was certainly exciting, the real piece de resistance, for me, was actually another part of their booth. Now, we all know about the cruelty of animal testing in the cosmetics industry. Every company is, hopefully, looking for or actively using alternatives. But L'Oreal blew my mind. They are able to 3D print the human dermis for use in testing their products and the effects of things like UV rays on the skin. Let's just think about that for a second, in case you missed it. They can 3D print skin. How cool is that? I took a class on tissue engineering last semester, and we've learned so much about the use of stem cells and growth factors for healing. But I never would have thought that cosmetic companies already have the ability to recreate skin. L'Oreal showed me that they're able to create different skin colors using melanin because they're committed to inclusivity. Absolutely amazing. I would absolutely love to visit that lab one day. Hint, hint to any wonderful L'Oreal people that are listening. Would absolutely love to visit that. This was just the coolest thing. So cool. I took a video of it as well, so that will be up on the page later. Now, what I've discussed so far really only scratches the surface of my time at VivaTech. But I wanted to show you all of that rather than telling you. So I'll be posting these videos later on my YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. But for now, I'll just give you a quick summary. I tried the Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses and had too many VR experiences to count around the event. So much tech. I got to try, by sitting on it, not riding it, the first fully electric motorcycle by Maving. And it was amazing. A term now coined by Lisa and I, but Maving, you can use it too. I had a quick interview at Orange with one of their interns about how they're keeping us connected to the 2024 Paris Olympics by making sure that the media have data coverage. If only they were covering me during VivaTech, I could have posted so much more. Anyway, LVMH had their Dream Garden, where luxury brands like Dior, Tiffany & Co., Bulgari, Louis Vuitton, and so many more were showcasing how they're using technology to bring their customers that extra luxury experience. AWS kindly had a brainstorming session that was available to entrepreneurs who could share their product with a member of the team and then learn exactly how AWS can provide them with a solution. Finally, an AI personality quiz with Centronics made me a perfume. Actually, 3 perfumes, which was pretty cool. And I promise that's just the high level of my time at VivaTech. All of that tech, so many booths, so many sections. I didn't have much time to go to any of the talks. So I'll be relying on the replays later because there was just so much to see and do. The venue was truly huge. I needed to clone myself to be able to see everything. But I did take the time to listen in on some of the heavy-hitting guests, no pun intended, like Serena Williams and Venus Williams, as well as Elon Musk, who joined us virtually. Through speaking with some of the attendees, I learned that people really appreciated VivaTech's commitment to fostering networking. Every booth, every corner, had somewhere where you could sit and chat. I found myself taking advantage of the media lounge, where we were kindly provided with soft drinks and snacks. They also had booths for interviews, which I was able to book and use for an interview with German Bionics about their human-centristic approach to technology. Look forward to that coming soon. Overall, I had an amazing time at VivaTech this year. It was my first time attending, and I absolutely loved it. Next time, I think I'll have to be a bit more strategic about visiting all of the booths so that I have some time for the talks. Maybe be a little bit less distracted by robots. Some of my friends actually asked me about my croissant and dessert count by the end of the week, and I am proud to say I had about 5 tarts and an uncountable amount of croissants by the end of the week. It was wonderful. I even managed to sneak home a baguette and some quiche for the Eurostar ride. Oh, I almost forgot to mention getting to sightsee on the Saturday. I saw the Eiffel Tower, Arc de Triomphe, and the Louvre, and the wonderful Olympic construction, which was great to see. A lot of the stuff that I wanted to be able to see was actually just covered in construction, so great. I'm trying to maintain that balance between busy conference days and finding a little bit of time for myself when I visit these cities. So overall, I had a great time. Thank you for stepping into the lab with me
and for listening to my review. I'll see you later in the week for more of my VivaTech coverage. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Hi again, awesome listener. That wraps up another deep dive of Kameron's Lab Dive In. Before you dive back into your day, see what I did there? Take a second to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Want a behind-the-scenes look? Bonus content? Or just some good old STEM fun? Follow me on my socials, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Kameron's Lab. And remember, every episode is a new adventure, and we've got some thrilling dives lined up for you. Don't miss out! Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.